We adopted a boy found on the highway and raised him for 19 years, only to be uninvited from his wedding. I realize the title may seem unusual, but it's the most accurate way to describe the events. Please excuse any grammar or spelling errors, as English isn't my first language. I'm a 44-year-old woman, and my husband is 40. We've been married for 20 years and together for 22. We adopted our son, who is now 24. He's black, and we're not. I mention this because it's relevant to the story later. This doesn't take place in the US. Let me give some background. About 19 years ago, my husband and I were driving on a long, empty highway, returning from a small vacation. It was a desolate stretch of road, flanked by miles of grass and rolling hills, with no buildings or cars in sight. The sun was beginning to set, casting a golden hue over the landscape, when we spotted a little boy sitting by the side of the road, alone. There was nothing around for miles, so we pulled over, concerned. As we approached the boy, let's call him Jason, not his real name, it became clear he was in distress. He was dirty, malnourished, and shivering, wearing nothing but a soiled diaper. He looked no older than 3, though we would later learn he was 5. We crouched down to his level and gently asked, "Where are your mommy and daddy?" His response was heartbreaking. "Mommy and daddy put me here and told me to wait." There was no cell signal in the area, so we did the only thing we could think of. We brought him back to town to the nearest police station. To make a long story short, Child Protective Services, CPS, were called, and we learned that Jason's parents were drug addicts on the run from a felony. His only other relative, a grandmother, was too mentally ill to care for him. The thought of this little boy, abandoned and alone, broke our hearts. He was placed into foster care, but we couldn't stop thinking about him. We stayed in touch with his caseworker, wanting to make sure he was okay. I had, and still have, a well-paying job that allowed us to provide a comfortable life. After a few months of discussions, soul-searching, and dealing with the necessary bureaucracy, we decided to adopt Jason. It was one of the best decisions of our lives. Now, onto the current situation. About 3 years ago, Jason's biological parents were released from prison on parole. Out of the blue, they contacted him, expressing a desire to reconnect. They had sent him a few letters over the years, but nothing consistent. At first, Jason was hesitant to meet them, but eventually, curiosity got the better of him. He decided to meet them for lunch one day. I'll be honest, I felt a wave of jealousy and fear. These were the same people who had abandoned him, and I couldn't shake the feeling that they could hurt him again. But I knew this was something Jason needed to do for himself, so I put aside my reservations and supported him. At first, I thought it was just the excitement of meeting his biological parents that made him pull away. But as the months went by, it became clear something was changing. He started canceling plans with us at the last minute, saying, "Mom had an emergency," or "Dad needs help with something." He used to come over at least once a week and call every few days, but now we were lucky if he visited once a month. I kept telling myself this was temporary, that he would eventually find a balance between his old family and us, the people who had raised him. Then one day, he invited us over for dinner. It was meant to be a family gathering with us, his biological parents, and his girlfriend, now his wife. Despite my apprehension about meeting the people who had once abandoned him, I decided to give them a chance. After all, Jason was our son, and we loved him. We had to try. The dinner was a nightmare. His biological mother was openly hostile, making passive-aggressive, homophobic, and racist comments throughout the evening. His father wasn't much better. The tension kept building until she hurled a glass at my husband and called us a disgusting slur. I was in shock. My heart was pounding in my chest. A shouting match ensued, and we left immediately. The next day, Jason came over to apologize. He was visibly shaken and promised it wouldn't happen again. I told him that neither my husband nor I wanted anything to do with his biological parents moving forward. He seemed to understand, but over the next few months, he continued to distance himself from us. Fast forward to last week, Jason had proposed to his girlfriend about 9 months ago and was deep in wedding planning. We were so excited for him. But as the months passed, there was still no invitation. Whenever we asked, Jason would brush it off, saying, "They haven't been sent out yet." Then my husband saw a Twitter post from one of Jason's friends, a groomsman, holding up the invitation posted weeks earlier. I felt a knot in my stomach. When Jason came over, we confronted him. And he dropped the bomb. We weren't invited to the wedding. I was stunned. Why? I asked, my voice barely more than a whisper. He looked uncomfortable before saying, "My biological parents don't want you there. They said they wouldn't come if you did." My heart sank. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "How could you choose them over us?" I asked, and tears filling my eyes. "After everything we've done for you, everything we've been through together?" His response was like a slap in the face. "They understand me better. They're my people." My husband broke down in tears, asking, "How could you do this to us?" I felt a surge of anger like never before. I told Jason to leave, that if he couldn't see us as his real family, then maybe he shouldn't come back. He left without another word. The next day, I canceled everything we had paid for the wedding. Every deposit, every booking, every expense, even those we couldn't get a refund for. Jason called, furious, screaming about how we'd ruined everything and how he would find replacements with the wedding only a few months away. I told him I didn't care. "Maybe you should ask those two leeches you call parents for help," I said before hanging up. 19 years of raising him, loving him like our own, and this was how he repaid us. We gave him everything, our time, our love, a future, and now it feels like it was all for nothing. I'm asking if I'm the asshole because some of Jason's friends and even a few family members have called us heartless for what we did. It's made me question if I went too far in my anger. Aren't parents supposed to love unconditionally? But how do you move past a betrayal like this? How do you cope with the pain? Are we wrong to feel this way? So, am I the asshole? Edit. I've added a comment for further clarification on a few points I've seen asked in the comments and my PMs. Please refer to that if you have any questions. Edit 2, I'm seeing quite a few racist comments in this post. And to the people making them, I have this to say: screw you. Get lost with that rhetoric. I do not appreciate it and would rather you all left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed our stories and would like to hear more, please consider subscribing to our channel. Your support helps us continue bringing you captivating tales and new content every week. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. We appreciate every one of you for being a part of our storytelling journey.